Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Now, Chelsea is facing Nottingham Forest at the Stamford Bridge. So, let's do the preview. But before we get into the preview, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Anyway, now let's talk the game. But like we always do in each and every preview, we like to talk or to discuss or to react to the press conference. Now, Enzo Maresca has spoken. He mentioned some few stuff. But like I always tell you, these press conferences, it's literally a wasting of time. I don't even know why we do it. I think the only thing that we need to know from these press conferences is the injuries. I think they should just post on Chelsea website every Friday, just updating us on the injuries. Other than that, I don't want to hear about some of the ridiculous things that these journalists will be asking. One guy was asking about how if Enzo Maresca has regretted his decision of not registering bench. You're like, who cares? Seriously, like, who cares? Even if he does regret it, do you think he's going to come and say, I do regret it? So, man, listen, I just feel like these press conferences, apart from the injury updates, we don't want to hear about anything. But he said some two things that I want to react today. And I think these were most important points on the whole press conference of, I think, 15 minutes of utter rubbish. Now, obviously, the injuries, he spoke about how everyone is fit except for Reece James. Now, we spoke about this each and every time we do a review, a preview. We're not really missing Reece James, are we? Now, I'm a very big fan of Reece James, but I like him when he's fit, which is like, what, 2-3 games a season? Now, we have Malo Gusto, and I think since we signed him, he has been perfect. Now, what I mean by perfect is he has been giving us, 95% of what he's supposed to give us. So by that, we're not really missing Reece James. Now, do I want Reece James to come back? Of course, I want him to come back. I want him to come back as soon as yesterday. But I also want him to come when he's at his best, when he's fit. So he's the only player that is injured. And I think most of us were worried about Kani Chukwuemeka because we were expecting to see him on the game against Ghent, which we played about 2 days ago. But I think Maresca said he was ill, hence why we didn't get to see him. But other than that, injuries, we're good. And hopefully it stays like that because, hey, I need my players to be fit. Now, the second point, which I thought was the most important one, he said Chelsea are not at the level of Man City and Arsenal and probably a little bit of Liverpool as well in terms of challenging for the title because, sometimes we as fans, we get carried away. I know we've been winning games, a lot of games, scoring a lot of goals. And some of us Chelsea fans, including myself, I was now thinking of the title. But realistically, we're not there yet, which is why he said, for a team to be able to challenge for the titles like Man City and Arsenal, you got to look at the time that they spend with their managers. Now, Arteta has been an Arsenal coach for what, almost 5 years now, if not more than 5 years. And then Pep Guardiola, he's been there for what, over 7 years. So he was saying for a team or a coach to be able to challenge or go for the title, he needs time. But I can tell you one thing though. Okay, first let me say, I kind of agree with that to a certain extent because if you play ball like I did, you know that as a team, you have to build cohesion and the chemistry. Now, you obviously have to build that, or it's possible to build that over time. You can't just wake up and then put, a whole lot of, good players and expect them to gel. Look at what's happening in Real Madrid. Mbappe hasn't even gelled in yet into the Real Madrid system. So imagine a team like Chelsea where we have players that are new, the likes of obviously Jadon Sancho, Pedro Neto, João Felix, Renato Veiga, even our new goalkeeper, So you have to give these guys time to build the chemistry for them to be able to challenge for the title. And obviously you have to add on one or two players. For instance, Chelsea, we need a striker, we need a centre back. So Yes, I can agree with to that point, but I can tell you one thing though. Maresca didn't walk into the Leicester City dressing room last season and say to them, look, for us to be able to be promoted, we need time, just like any other team that have been having the same coach over time. No. I'm pretty sure he walked into that dressing room and said, listen, we are going to be promoted this season. We are going to win the championship this season. Now, before you guys start saying that I'm deluded or whatever, I'm not comparing the championship or the promotion to the title. But if you look at the amount of depth that Chelsea have and the amount of quality of players that we have, we should be able to go head to head with Arsenal. I think if you actually put it on paper, we have the better squad than Arsenal. So I don't see us not being able to challenge for the title. Now, I'm not going to put pressure on my team to say we have to go for the title. Obviously, for me, when I did my prediction, I was saying we're going to finish third. But most importantly, I wanted us to just finish top 4 and maybe a domestic cup or the conference league that we are in. I think we are the most favorite in there to win that competition. So yeah, man, I do agree with that point. But at the same time, like, I don't see the other teams doing so far better than us. I think we are almost on the similar level. But anyway, we'll see. If you give me top 4, I'm happy. Now, let's talk about the game. To be honest with you, there isn't much to really talk about because if it was the Nottingham Forest of Steve Cooper, I was going to say they're going to come with a low block, right? Now, with Nuno, I don't know because sometimes he does low blocks and counters. And sometimes he takes the game to the opponent. Now, if you ask me, I want him to come with the intention of actually taking the game to us because that's when Chelsea are actually good. When you play this low block, yes, we can be able to break it, but we saw what happened at Crystal Palace. It was hard for us to break them, because they were also playing deep. Now, when we played teams like Brighton, Wolverhampton, we were actually scoring goals because there was too much space. And I'm begging my players to run in behind those spaces and actually create more chances. And hopefully, players like Jackson and Palmer, they can take their chances and actually give us goals. Now, the only player that I have to discuss about, you already know who that is, Callum Hudson-Odoi. So it's gonna be a derby for him because obviously he's playing his childhood club, which is Chelsea. Last time when we played them, we lost 1-0. It was Callum Hudson-Odoi. Was it? Maybe I'm wrong, but I remember we lost at their ground. We lost at Stamford Bridge and then we won at their ground. But I know in one of those games, Callum Hudson-Odoi actually scored against us and he did the celebration. I think it was the second game of the season which we played at their ground when Reece James came on and then put the cross into the box and then Jackson ended up ending the goal. I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But man, there isn't much to talk about. We just have to wait and see. I normally give him a prediction for Chelsea, but I think we already know the obvious. Sanchez is going to start. Jackson is going to start. Madueke will start on the right side. Obviously, our midfielder Enzo, Caicedo, they're going to start. Palmer on the 10. I think we already know Sanchez in goal, Gusto on the right back, centre back, Cole, Fofana, and Cucurella. That's going to be our starting. If there's any change to that lineup, I'll be surprised. But if you ask me, which change would I want in that lineup, I would say, can you please take Madueke out and put Pedro Neto on that right-hand side, because I think Madueke can be very selfish, he's never actually consistent. So the past couple of games, he hasn't actually been doing really well. So I would say, try Pedro Neto there, because we saw what he can do. Obviously, we're playing Ghent, but again, no disrespect to them. But I think Pedro Neto is a better quality and he's more consistent than Madueke. Now, my prediction for the game, I'm gonna go 3-1 Chelsea, because I think either Elanga or Callum Hudson-Odoi will get their goal, and in Sanchez in goal, he's gonna concede a goal. So I'm going 3-1 Chelsea. I'm backing my boys to win on this one because I want to go to this international break with 3 points on the books. Now, up the Chelsea as always. I'll see you guys on the review, but hopefully we win the game. Up the Chelsea. We are.